Alrighty, folks. YouTubes. For those who don't know, I heard that a Senate Bill 1867 just passed recently. 97-3. Rand Paul was one of the people who opposed it. Good for him, right? Just for anyone who out there might be a Rand Paul fan, I guess. It was called the National Defense Authorization Act. So, and this bill is so horrible. Basically gives them the power to indefinitely detain, which means lock you up till whenever they say is okay. So it could be for life. Based on being a terrorist suspect, not being a terrorist, just being suspected of terrorism. And that, and I read this on endthelie.com. I don't agree with everything that's on that site. I just took a quick glance at it. But some of the stuff there's good, and I like this article because it just went over pure facts. So it's stuff that anyone could look at. It doesn't require being involved in any particular ideology. It just talked about what happened. Well, I mean, it says it's bad. You might disagree if it's good or bad, but I like that the article says what actually happened as well. So I wanted to make a video on it. A little bit of background, I guess, kind of similar to the Patriot Act. Of course, people said that it would never be used against American citizens or whatever. Same thing with this one. I think it was CNN or something like that. It was in the article. Some news organization said this bill does not say that it applies to American citizens. Well, that's technically true. It turns out that the Supreme Court, as mentioned in the article, in 2004 said that indefinite detention could be applied to U.S. citizens. So the media is here telling a technical truth. It's like, yes, this bill does not say that it will be applied to American citizens on American soil. The thing is that the law in general makes it apply to U.S. citizens. The Supreme Court ruling is what makes it apply to U.S. citizens. And so basically now they don't even have to take you to Guantanamo Bay. It's like, that's my understanding of it anyways. But even if that's not the case, it really doesn't matter. The point is that they can get U.S. citizens on American soil who are simply suspects and lock them up for life. And the wording was so vague. That's what makes this law so dangerous. It basically gives them the potential to have unlimited power. What was I going to say? I need to get a drink. Hold on. Oh, speaking of drink, though, this is some apricot ale. Never tried it before. Just figured I'd review it. I just smelled it while it was in the bottle. It smells really nice. So you can smell the apricots. Oh, yeah, that smells really nice. Oh, goodness gracious. That is delicious. I recommend you guys try that. It's called apricot ale. I forgot what brand or whatever company makes it. Anyways. Lost my train of thought now. Hold on. Oh yeah, so it basically gives them, it's so vague that it has the potential to give, the law unlimited power. And of course, politicians, you give them an inch, they take a mile. So you have something that could be interpreted to give them everything they want, you can rest assured that eventually they'll try to use it to get whatever they want. And so, it's so terrible because you just being accused and being a suspect, they can lock you up. And that's terrible. Without any due process, they just indefinite detention. And you know what? The article also said that Obama might veto it, but actually the administration, one of it, I think his advisors or someone from the administration, it was not saying no that Obama is going to veto the bill. It's that his advisors will recommend a veto. And not only that, but their real problem with it is not the expansion of power. Their problem with it, their justification for opposing it, is that it would not leave the discretion to the president. That discretion on deciding who should be indefinitely detained, who should be possibly locked away for life simply for being a suspect without any due process, without any trial by jury, is that it would not give this power, this sole discretion to the president, and that the president alone should be who gets to decide. I mean, why don't they just come out and say that they want a king already? It's terrible. And and Rand Paul in a video, I'll probably link it in the description if I can find it, talking about the National Defense Authorization Act, Senate Bill 1867. Listed some of the things that could make one a suspect. If you're missing a hand or missing some fingers, you could be a suspect. I guess because they think, oh, you've been experimenting with bombs or something. I guess don't take into account all the other people who are missing limbs. Maybe if you're born without, a hand, or who knows, if you have a birth defect, or if you had lost it in a shop accident. I don't mean like while you're shopping. I mean like wood shop, like in school and stuff, or whatever, or at work. Something like that. It doesn't matter how you get it. It could be a horrible wood chip accident, or it could be whatever. You got an infection and they had to amputate something. That could make you a suspect, right? Another thing that was listed, I forgot, there was another thing that was just kind of weird. But the most ridiculous was you have 7 days worth or more of food. I mean, are you kidding me? Right? There's probably tons of people. If you have a decent sized refrigerator, oh well, you might be a terrorist. You have a big family, you might be a terrorist. You better not start feeding your family, because then you might be suspected of terrorism, and then you could be indefinitely detained. Well, anyways, that's just so ridiculous. As if the government didn't do enough already to have their boot on the necks of poor people. Well, anyways, I made a poem. I hate to use the word inspired, that I was inspired by the passing of this bill, but I was motivated for sure to make this short little poem. I'm not sure if this bill has also passed the House yet, but I didn't check for myself. George Donnelly on Facebook said that it did, so I mean, if that's true, I mean, that's just, I don't know, man. It's just ridiculous. I guess everyone who's out there, careful with what you say when you criticize the government now, I guess, in public. Go ahead and talk to your friends if you really trust, those close friends of yours. But just random, people or strangers, who knows, man. This thing basically opens up Pandora's box. Another thing they mentioned in the article, before I get to the poem, is that one of the things, I forgot which official said it, or someone in government said it, that one of the things, it's that you could be a suspect for doing anything that supports the other side in the U.S. government's efforts against terrorism, and that one of the efforts, another official was saying, is that the U.S. government is defeating the narrative of the other side. Right? So basically, if you say, that's so vague, right? If you simply agree with one or certain number of issues the other side's making, you say, oh, you know what, that actually kind of makes sense. Even if you don't agree with their position, but you say these certain points make sense, that could be making you a suspect by that, by that description. I mean, this law is so vague that it just basically is up in the air for interpretation, and that's very dangerous when you do that kind of a thing with the law. So, I mean, who knows what that could mean in the future? I mean, does that mean that, if you say something they said was true makes you a suspect? Does that make you a terrorist suspect? Who knows? I mean, it's just crazy. There's all sorts of wrong and epic fail in this bill. Anyway, I'll get to the poem now, because I'll probably just, ramble on and on. I called this poem The End of the Bill of Rights. That's the title of the poem. All right, here we go. So I heard about this bill just last night that instilled me with both anger and fright. National Defense Authorization Act, to be precise. Just for speaking our minds, the state can extinguish the light from our eyes, or at least lock us up so we never again see the daylight. I know things aren't always so black and white, but I really do think this is just to establish more political might. 3 senators voted nay, 97 voted aye. Maybe now you'll see normal people share the same plight. A lack of freedom often leads to strife. And here's a little piece of advice. Toss the politicians out if you really want to take a bite out of crime. Thank you.